can't remember if I was the one who suggested it or if somebody else did, but I was certainly the one who first collected the germplasm. And that was back in 1994. Alan Taylor and I went on a field trip to Cook's Peak. And we went down to Cook Peak in Luna County, New Mexico. And the reason we went there was to collect seed of the Arizona cypress. That's the northernmost Arizona cypress, the hardiest form. And I'd never seen it before. And I said, Alan, you can't go down to Cook Peak without taking me. And it was in September, I believe, of 1994. We went up to Cook Peak, and Alan, he drove on that trip. And I remember it was phenomenal. I mean, he got the permission of the ranchers who own most of Cook Peak, and we had to go through all these gates. And the flora there, of course, that's Chihuahuan desert flora. It's very, very rich. And there were just tons of, there were barrel cacti on the way up. Phaerocactus woodlesinii, some of them were 4 or 5 feet tall, and I was thinking, I couldn't believe it was central New Mexico and it had all these incredible plants. And we start driving up the mountain through the oak forest and the pine forest. And it was about 7,000 feet. There was a big ridge, and it had the Arizona cypress growing on that ridge. And I went back recently with some staff, almost 20 years after that initial find. And we went back, and most of the trees were dead because they had had a tremendous drought. But back in 1994, they were in great health, windswept, beautiful cypresses. And we were looking for seed. We got seed, and that's where much of the seed of the cypresses that in our gardens today comes from. And while I was there, I saw one plant that looked kind of like a penstemon, and it was in the sort of shady area, right around 7,000 feet. And I vaguely remembered that there was a scrophularia that grew in New Mexico that was pretty rare. And since then, I think it's been put on the endangered species list, but back then it wasn't. And at any rate, I remember going, and its capsules were not quite ripe, but one capsule was brownish, and that one capsule is what I collected, and there were maybe 50 or 100 seed in it. And from that one capsule comes all of the red birds of the tree that are growing all over the world today. I brought it back, we grew it, I was amazed by it. It bloomed the first year, I think 1995 or something. And I shared seed with Q, where it was a tremendous success. And I shared seed with David Salmon. And he was the one who really launched it in High Country Gardens, and he gave it that name, which I'll never forget. The first time I opened up the catalog, and there's my plants, red birds in a tree. And I'm looking at it, and I thought, red birds in a tree. What a crazy name that is. And it turns out, like the other names that David gives plants, blonde ambition, he has a flair. So that's kind of the story of red birds in a tree.